Narcissistic mother, golden child son. My name is Jared Mello, the wizard of radical self-respect and the shepherd of black sheep. This is a very common dynamic, and I see this dynamic more than I see a narcissistic mother with a golden child daughter. Not to say that doesn't happen, it absolutely does. I just see the narcissistic mother with a golden child son more often. But let's go over what it looks like. The narcissistic mother and golden child son will have a relationship that is a little too close for comfort. And from the outside looking in, you might get a little bit of a weird vibe when you see how they act because they seem super close with one another. Often the narcissistic mother has devalued the baby dad or husband or boyfriend, whomever it was, or she is a single mother. And in that case, the son gets put on the pedestal. And she may say things like, "You're my little man, my man of the house," because what she is doing is parentifying him. That is when she treats him as an emotional substitute for a spouse and is treating him as if he were older. And she is not being mindful that this is a kid. It is not someone I'm supposed to be treating like an adult like me. It's on that same emotional level, though. And the other part about it will be, there will be enmeshment. And this is when the boundaries are blurred between the two of them. And the dynamic here is, the narcissistic mother will love and praise and do everything for the golden child son, but it is absolutely conditional. This is kind of an Oedipal complex here as well. But she will do things for him, and she will take care of him. And what she does end up doing a lot of times is stunting his emotional growth. And the son does not learn how to handle things. He doesn't know how to solve problems and do things on his own. Because the narcissistic mother, she wants to control the golden child son. And she uses him, basically, to feel good about herself. Because narcissistic parents in general, they see their children as extensions of themselves. And often they will make their kids earn their love and affection. And how this works in this dynamic is, as long as the golden child son lives up to the ideal that the narcissistic mother wants him to be, and in this case what it usually is making her feel a certain way about herself and helping them project an image to the world that gives the narcissistic mother supply. As long as the golden child son does that, the narcissistic mother is very happy with him. And that relationship can stay like that for a while. But what this does, it robs the golden child son of his autonomy. He doesn't know how to be his own person, and he never learns how to do things on his own, how to be autonomous, how to have boundaries, how to be assertive, how not to be a people pleaser. And the reason for this is because if he tries to step out of line, the narcissistic mother knows to withdraw her love or guilt and shame him, and she has a go-to manipulation tactic to control him. And when it's the son, they learn, if I do things my mother doesn't like, my mother is going to withhold her love and affection, or she might give me a silent treatment, or she might guilt trip me and say, a son that loves his mother would do this, or a son that loves his mother would do that. And that is all just a guilt trip. And it's really awful for the golden child son to have to do this, even though he is still the golden child. So even being the golden child, though, that love and affection is absolutely conditional. But that's how narcissistic parents are. Love and affection are earned and conditional. But the golden child son, he usually will come to a make or break point at some point in his life. Usually it's around the teenage years, and he may not even realize it's a make or break point because this is his initial trauma bond. He learns, I have to be a people pleaser. I have to be responsible for my parents' emotions, in this case, the narcissistic mother. And that is a position that no child should be in. They are not responsible for their narcissistic parents' emotional state. But that is exactly what they want you to think. They want you to think, yes, you are responsible for my emotional state. That is what parentification is all about. And that is why parentification is really abuse. But when the golden child son is in high school about, often they come to a make or break moment where either they start to see through the narcissistic mother's BS a little bit and they try to break free and do their own thing, or the narcissistic mother succeeds in being able to guilt trip him and control him, and then this guy will be a mama's boy indefinitely. Now, there is an in-between thing that can happen here too, where someone sees through it and they break free a little bit, but there's still residual effects later on in life. And residual effects may be things like not feeling comfortable being assertive, not feeling comfortable putting themselves first, not thinking they are just worthy of love, and thinking that they have to earn everything they get. And these are things that are symptoms of that initial trauma bond. And the way to break free from all of this is to recognize what you're dealing with your narcissistic mother. Recognize you have to be your own man. You have to figure out, okay, what do I do to make the man I see in the mirror happy? And whatever that is the direction that you have to go in. But what happens a lot of times to the golden child son is they look themselves in the mirror and they say, uh-oh, what do I need to do to make my narcissistic mother happy? What do I need to do to put her needs and emotions before my own? And it's a very problematic dynamic. And then if the golden child son is in a relationship, that causes a whole nother set of problems because the narcissistic mother usually will not like the golden child son's girlfriend or spouse because she sees that as one, a betrayal, and two, she's losing control of the golden child son. And she's losing control of him to this new girlfriend or spouse. So the narcissistic mother does not like that. She will usually not like her golden child son's spouse, and they will often bicker and fight. But the narcissistic mother will put herself in between them a lot of times too. And this new spouse, she often won't get along with the narcissistic mother either. And she will have her own frustrations because it will feel like to her that she is in competition with the golden child son's mother. Because she absolutely is. Because that is where the narcissistic mother is putting herself. She is putting herself in between them, and it makes the golden child son choose. And this is the dynamic when the golden child son did not break free. He is still under the narcissistic mother's spell, and she is controlling him. And what will happen is the narcissistic mother wants attention. And she'll often have crises and make up emergencies, things where I need your help right away. And if you're going to be a good son to me, you're going to do what I say right away. And when the narcissistic mother says jump, the golden child son will say how high. And he'll run off to do things for her. And again, when I talk about this, balance is at play. I am not saying men and young boys should not love their mother. Absolutely not. But this dynamic is just a little bit different. It is too much. When there's parentification and a lack of autonomy and enmeshment, that is no longer a healthy relationship. That is a trauma bond, and it is also abuse. But the narcissistic mother, she learns how to play the fiddle. She uses the she uses the golden child son and plays him as if she's the puppet master. And his spouse does not like this very much at all, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, because the golden child son needs to become his own man. And if what I've talked about so far, that's describing you, and you haven't broke free, and maybe you have broke free, but you still have these limiting beliefs, what do you do? What you do is you have to start practicing radical self-respect. If you haven't broke free yet, what you need to do is get yourself aware on the behaviors of a narcissist. In particular, the behaviors of your narcissistic mother. Learn, where is she guilting you, shaming you, controlling you? What are her manipulation tactics? What does she do to get her way? Is there silent treatments? Is there gaslighting, guilt and shame? Whatever it is, recognizing that will be key. Sometimes what it will be is big emotional reactions, and she uses that to get her way. But again, awareness of this all is key. Once you're aware, you might learn, okay, I gotta go no contact with my mother. Maybe you do. Maybe that's what you have to do. I'm not saying that's what you have to do every time. You have to do what is best for you. But often, some space is going to be needed because that space is where you're going to develop your autonomy. That space is where you learn how to be your own man. And without that space, it is really difficult because in the proximity of your narcissistic mother, it is much more difficult to heal that trauma bond because she's still there. She's still whispering in your ear. She's still trying to control and to manipulate you. So often this will require taking some space. And then you can reassess and be reborn from there, for lack of a better word. And I don't even think that's hyperbolic. That is actually what's happening. When you get that sixth sense moment, you are becoming reborn. And it's like the caterpillar into the butterfly. Now, if you have broken free, and you're just having some residual effects, maybe from CPTSD, maybe just getting flashbacks of things, what you need to do is similar. And I don't know whether you're still in contact with your narcissistic mother or not, but you have to learn how to practice radical self-respect. Learn what your limiting beliefs are about yourself. Learn where those beliefs are impacting your life. What emotions are uncomfortable for you to feel. When is it hard for you to be assertive? When is it hard to put yourself first in a healthy way? These are all very important questions to ask yourself. When do you feel guilted into saying yes when you want to say no? Where are you a people pleaser? These are all the questions that you need to ask to get yourself on that path. But if that is you, and I've described you as the golden child son, you are definitely not alone. A lot of the coaching clients I get are either the golden child son or their spouse that is trying to deal with the situation because they see what the narcissistic mother's doing. She is inserting herself into the situation, using guilt and shame and other manipulation tactics, sometimes big emotions, to get her way. But you might have to go no contact with her if you're the golden child son, but it's up to you. I don't tell people what they should be doing. Everyone has to figure that out for themselves. But if someone can't respect you and they don't know how, then at the very least space is going to be needed. But just know people have gotten out of this situation before and people absolutely improve. It just takes that space because when the narcissistic mother is using you for her own emotional benefit and for supply, for lack of a better word, it is stunting the golden child son's growth. She is the Oedipal complex, as Freud would say, and she is smothering him. But to the outside, what's going on is she will praise him, the kingdom come, and tell everyone that her son's the best. He's the best kid ever, and he's so awesome, and he's so this. But behind closed doors, that's where the mistreatment comes out. That's where the control and guilt will come out, even though he's the golden child son. And a lot of times, he might not even realize he's being mistreated or abused, because often it can be covert and subtle, so much so that he doesn't recognize it. He doesn't recognize, oh, she's using big emotions and anger to control me. She's using guilt and shame to control me. She's giving me a silent treatment to control me. But again, this is why awareness is so key. But if you got this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you liked it. Share this video with someone that you think might benefit from its content. And comment below if you could relate to what I said here. Did you have an experience with a narcissistic mother? What was it like? How did you break free? Or maybe you're the spouse of a golden child son who has a narcissistic mother. How did you deal with it in the situation? Were you able to deal with it with them? Was the golden child son able to break free? Or did you have to end the relationship because he couldn't break free and he couldn't stop his narcissistic mother from interfering in your relationship? Whatever it is, I would love to hear it. So with that, thank you very much for watching.